Welcome back to another Selfish Babe podcast, Selfish Babes. It is your girl, Olenike Osibowale, bringing you back another Selfish Babe podcast. And I'm so excited about this episode, guys. This episode is going to be about love, abundance, and really manifesting the best lover in your life, whatever that may look like for you. And we're going to have a detailed conversation because you guys know how I feel about love right now. And how I feel about maybe one partner, two partner, three partners, four partners. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But I have a very special guest today. Her name is Bossy Bruja. And I was just scrolling on Instagram and I always see her posts and I always love her posts. And she was just posting a bunch of like videos and carousels about lovers being happy, lovers being together, lovers like men loving on their woman, like actual real men loving on their woman, like not the BS that we see on the internet. And I'm like, wow, we need to have a conversation about this. So everybody, welcome Bossy Bruja. Say hello, Bossy Bruja.
Hi, y'all. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about this conversation.
Oh shit. So when we were talking about what we see opposite, right? So when I usually go on to social media or sometimes when I talk to people and they're talking about dating, they just said that they've had really bad experiences with dating. There's piss in the dating water, that the men ain't shit. I hear that a lot.
Right.
I hear that the men ain't shit a lot. And sometimes we hear the podcast, we see the podcast videos where it's always a fight against men and women. It's always a battle of the sexes for some reason, right? And it's just like that's what we see. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Sure, that's people's experiences. I can't negate people's experiences. But we also know that there's an opposite that exists. And we also know that there are also people that are actually happily in love, that actually really
Right.
like each other, that actually desire love, real love. And so for me, when I was seeing your post, I'm like, wow, I really enjoy seeing this because I feel like personally, if we want to create our lives, we call in what we want. And so, yes, I may understand that there is a reality that exists and we see that reality. But even as a selfish babe, as we are creating our realities, it's like, well, what do you want? And so if you know what you want, then you start speaking more of what you want, or you start seeing more of what you want. And for you, you have the Lover Girl mood board, which is showing us what you want and what you desire. So take us through what the Lover Girl mood board is.
So, like you said, I was seeing a lot of this negative, cynical, a lot of fussing and bickering on the internet. So, the first thing I started to do was to unfollow and to block
Mm,
even people who were resharing that kind of content because I didn't want it in my consciousness. Because
okay.
consciousness is life, your beliefs will manifest. And
Sure.
it doesn't take anything more than a little bit of repetition to instill or install a new belief.
Mm-hmm.
So I unfollowed, I checked out of that kind of stuff. I won't listen to it. I don't care how strong the clickbait is. If I recognize certain faces now, I go the opposite direction
Mm-hmm.
because our minds are the most powerful tool that we have for creating our lives with spirit.
For sure.
So I decided to start posting anything that gave me like warm fuzzy feeling, anything that put me in my feels, anything that made me cry, anything that made
Oh,
me feel like love is real,
for sure.
love is now, love is here,
For
and
sure.
people are living this reality and people are living that reality more,
Yeah.
maybe in private, maybe amongst themselves and their families and but people are living that more than people are having these breakdowns of communication and
Yeah.
these public, crises in their relationships. And I just have to say, Olenike, I don't believe them. Like I, kn- I know that you don't want to negate anybody's experiences, but I
Yeah.
fully believe that some of these content creators come on the internet and lie
Hmm. Just to get
for
engagement.
to get engagement. And
Mm-hmm.
that's honestly, you can grow your audience, you can grow your platform much quicker if you are being negative, if
Yeah.
you're causing people to bicker and fuss and fight, if you're posting some type of negativity, or if you are reflecting the worst parts of people's experiences back to them. People
I
love
want to
to
say
talk about their
something.
trauma.
I
Tell me.
agree with this. I want to say so. I hate to bring these people up, but we're just gonna bring them up, okay? So there was a time, we know the triangle. We know Krishan, Blueface, and Jalen or Jaden. Remember
I don't know the third one. And I
Jay.
call Krishan the girl with the tooth. You know,
So yeah, baby Blueface other baby mom. And so the blogs was posting them often. Every other day it was something new. Every other day it was something new. And I just have, when I see the face, I just have to scroll past
You
because I'm
have
like,
to.
I don't want to know. And
Mm-mm.
when I see the tattoo on the face, the recent thing, I said, I just I had no fucking words, okay? And the reason I had no words because I was just like, what is going on in the world today? Like, what's going on? Everybody is like saying, oh, I really, want this person to succeed and do well in life. And, they're really rooting for this person. But then this person is going back into a traumatic relationship or whatever. And I'm just like, why are they pushing this so hard? And I'm like, money. I know they're making money off
Money.
of this. They're making money off of this. But damn, I be having to just same like you said, scroll past. Cause I'm
You
like,
have
this is
to.
ridiculous. Ridiculousness.
You have to. That, yeah, those people, I won't even, follow people who talk about those kids. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's too much attention on them.
Mm-hmm.
And when people are, we're in like a spiritual healing space.
Yeah.
So people will come and they have these outstanding issues, like they need to heal, they need to resolve, they need to face, and they will say, "Oh, I don't have time." Girl, if you unfollow those little gossip sites and stop
Yeah.
following other people's
Yeah.
relationships,
Yeah.
you will manifest like magic some
Yeah.
time to
Yeah.
sit down and work on yourself and take care of your body, and you can reclaim a lot of your attention, your focus, and the power to manifest what you want for yourself by simply opting. I just call it the opt out, opting
Yeah.
out of things that's not your business.
Ashe.
It's not your business.
Ashe. I have the time to take care of myself. Let's just start with that simple prayer. Let's just start
Amen.
with that simple prayer, and you're going to manifest that time to take care of yourself. There will be some
Amen.
time.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Yes. So, yeah. So, logging out or opting out of other people's relationship dramas.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've been doing the Abundance Project. We talked about that. So, we were doing the Abundance Project on my page for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
It started right before Christmas a couple years ago because I really felt in my heart that I wanted to remind parents that you don't need to break the bank to
Yeah.
give your family a good Christmas. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you don't have to
Yeah.
do that. And so I started to do this thing where we were drawing attention to abundance in our
Yeah.
lives. Reading a
Yeah.
good book is abundance, sleeping in some nice, clean, cool sheets is
Yeah.
abundance, a hot shower is abundant. A cool drink of water at 3 a.m. is abundance. So
Yes.
just like drawing people's attention to how incredibly fortunate we are
Yeah.
led to me finding the Nat Ministry, which we talked about,
Yeah.
which led me to read her book, Rest is Resistance, where she talks about giving yourself time to create, to play, to rest, and to nap.
Yeah.
And her her manifesto, her position is that if you will just do the thing, just rest, the world will figure it out.
Ashe.
They'll figure it out. And they're gonna have to figure it out. And
Yeah.
I think the same thing applies for whatever it is you choose for yourself. We
Yeah.
were talking about the need to be selfish in order to manifest love. First
Ashe.
of all, I think you have to understand that you exist in a universe of abundance in order to be selfish. You're
Yeah.
good people, right? You're a good person. So it would not sit well with your spirit if you have everything you need, but other people don't have what they need. So you
Mm-mm.
must already understand abundance in order to be selfish,
Mm-mm.
because you have to know that people can choose what they want. They
Yes.
can select what they want. They can have what they
Yes.
want. There is more than enough for all of us.
Ashe.
Therefore, we don't have to be fighting. I don't need to be trying to save everybody. I don't need to be in everybody's business. I can create the life that I desire for myself. I can be fully engaged and absorbed in my experience, in that you can have the exact same thing if you choose.
Yeah,
If you
because we
choose.
talked about people choosing to suffer, but
Yes,
I want to address something you had mentioned. There's more than enough for everybody, right?
more than enough.
I had just recorded this video. I didn't post it yet, but I recorded a video where I was talking about that exact affirmation. There is a more than enough for everybody, right? There's more than enough for everybody, and there's more than enough for me. But I really
Yes,
enjoyed saying and feeling into there is more than enough for everybody. And
yes,
what I was describing in this video is that when I was saying this affirmation, it allows you to like slow down. It
yes,
allows you to not be in competition. It allows
right.
you to know that, oh, there's a place for me too. And
Yes.
as a place for her and him and them. You know what I'm trying to say? And so when I
Yes.
speak that affirmation, or what I was urging people to do with saying that affirmation, is like, when you feel into what you're saying, you approach things differently. When you have a
Yes.
mindset that you have to compete, you are rushing, you are forcing. And it's, I don't know, the way the word that comes to me is like almost a savage, like a savage trying to get
Yeah.
a piece of meat.
Right.
That's what comes to me.
And that's
When
not
you,
us.
yeah. So
We're
when I think of,
goddesses.
I
Like we don't do
shit.
that.
So when I think there's more than enough for everyone, I'm like, I'm, I'm I'm in alignment. I feel good about myself. I'm heading in the right direction, and I'm going to my seat that's already there for me. It's already there. It's
Exactly.
already available. And so, selfish babes, as you are listening to us talk about this, especially when Bossy Bruja is talking about just abundance in general, abundance is really truly all around us. And I think
Literally.
when she's talking about the abundance project, she's having you highlight the abundance around you every fucking day, because
Yes.
usually people obviously are talking, usually thinking about only money. And then usually people are stressed about money. That's what a lot of
Exactly.
people's realities are. But if we're like, well, how do I create more money for myself, there's physical things you can do to create more money, create more channels of money. But then it's also like, where's your mind, right? And so if
Right.
your mind is already like, wow, every breath that I take, my cells are thriving. Wow, that's abundance right there. Like
Yes.
every
That's
breath you
abundance.
take, you're alive, you're breathing. Like you don't even have to think too much about it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Girl,
If you,
magic.
yeah,
Beautiful.
if you realize that, then it's like, okay, that's good. That's just like you talked about, drinking the water, twerking on
Yes.
somebody's son
Uh,
in the
hello
bathtub.
in the hot tub. Abundance.
Yes. And so it's just like, when you start putting your mind towards all that you have, you're going to create more of that. And so even as we're talking about the Lover Girl mood board, it's like you're taking away the negativity around love and bringing in the positivity around love. Why? Because that is what we are reflecting. That is what we are declaring into the world.
Yeah.
That is what we are saying exists for us now in the present. We're working it with the present right now to reflect what we want, but what we want is already existing. I hope that makes sense to y'all.
It make perfect sense to me.
Okay. I'm trying to say
Okay.
for my selfish babes, I hope it makes sense to y'all. What you want,
Perfect sense.
so whatever you want, you have. So you want
Right.
it, but we declare it like we already have it, because
Period.
it is what we have. So that's what I'm saying to y'all.
Period. And you have to listen. Two points. One, it is already existing. I stole these people's posts. You have to understand. I didn't make this shit up. It's already existing. It's happening amongst millions of people around the world. Love between them and their spouses, love between them and their children, between friends, between boyfriend and girlfriend. Like it's all over the place.
Yeah.
People are loving on each other, students and their teachers. And I'm highlighting not just the romantic love too,
Mhm.
not just erotic love. This is all types of love. Like you
Yeah.
see it from all these different angles. It's happening. And I purposely made a point to include any and everybody, all races, all cultures, as
Yes.
much as I can find, because I want you to know this is what's happening all over the world. People
Yes.
are not sitting on podcasts bickering with each other all like all day, every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
That's not reality. Reality is people are getting on well. They're loving each other. They're taking care of each other. They're showing up for each other.
Ashe.
The other thing is that I was recently reading an article about creativity, and that article highlights the need for relaxation and happiness in order for you to be your most creative self.
Mm.
So if you are worried and scared and depressed, it is blocking your creativity.
Mm-hmm.
You must take time to relax. I,
Mm-hmm.
of course, recommend different things, music, dancing. You just need to like shake it out sometimes, tap it out with emotional freedom technique
Ashe.
and get that energy out, get the energy moving and get to a place where you're happy. And no matter what the money is doing right now, what it appears to be doing, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry just because things are happening. When you remember that you manifest your life, you create your life, it doesn't matter what's happening because whatever's happening right now is the result of past thinking and past
Yeah.
action. What
Yes.
you choose to focus on right now and think about right now is what's going to create your tomorrow.
Ashe.
Okay. You can walk into
Yes.
that shit today, matter of fact, but you don't have to be, you don't ever have to worry. Worry
Yeah.
is always optional. And I tell people to opt out of that too.
Yes. Like we said, choosing to suffer.
Yeah.
Choosing to
It is a
suffer.
choice.
Yes,
It's a
Ashe.
choice. Pain happens sometimes in life, but suffering is optional.
Yeah, I agree
It
with
is.
you. I have some
Yeah.
posts of yours that I have that I want to talk about.
Yes. Tell me.
Um, okay, so this was a post that Bossy Bruja wrote, and her question was, do you write letters to your future husband, wife, or partner? So I'm going to read what you wrote. So
I'm
this is
a
what she said.
blush.
She says, okay, I love you. So you have my patience and understanding. I will not force, pressure, or rush you. You are free. Take your time, do what you must. I will always strive to understand where you're coming from. I will strive to understand what you're sharing. Thank you for trusting me with your thoughts and feelings. Thank you for sharing your life with me. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, when I read that last part, thank you for sharing your life with me. I thought that was beautiful.
Yes.
So this is a letter that you wrote to who?
My future husband, which I can't even say my future husband because when I write that stuff, like when I write those letters, I have a book full of letters. I
Yeah,
write letters to Santissima. I write letters to my husband.
yeah.
To me, I do this thing where it's almost like a meditation, but it
Mhm.
feels like they are in the room or on
Mm.
their way home right now. Like they'll be walking through the door any moment. It feels like a very, my girls will say like you're shifting timelines or jumping timelines.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels like that. Like I've entered into a space, a liminal space, so like the mirror dimension. Like I've entered somewhere magical, and this person is going to have access to what I've written. It does not feel like a thing I'm waiting around to happen. It doesn't feel like it's so far off. It doesn't
Mm.
feel like a empty wish or
Yeah,
hope. It feels
yeah,
like I'm writing to my man.
yeah.
No.
I want to ask you, how did you get to a space of that feeling, right? Because I can already tell that there may be some women out there that's like, well, for them, it may feel like an empty wish. And the reason why I believe that it may feel like an empty wish is because maybe they just feel hopeless right now when it comes to love, right? And so maybe they do want to start writing letters to their future partner. But how do you get from this feels like an empty wish to I really feel like I'm talking to my person right now?
Right. I pray a lot.
Mm.
You already know that. I
Yeah.
pray a lot, and I suspect that in a healing and spiritual space like this, a lot of the girls will pray too. And sometimes I'll, especially if I feel worried about love or about having children, I'll
Yeah.
talk to Spirit about it, and she always get me together.
Yeah.
I had this thought, like, because I used to believe like there, my person isn't here.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like so dramatic and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Spirit literally gathered me and she said, if I can create somebody as wonderful as you, I could
Oh,
do it twice, honey.
I
I could do it
should.
again.
I should.
And I want people to understand that it's simply a matter of what you are choosing to believe. A belief, like Abraham Hicks says, is just a thought you keep thinking. This Your belief is a choice. You don't have to passively accept whatever other people are saying to you, like there's piss in the dating pool. You
Yeah.
don't have to believe that.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe that. Who said anything about a pool anyways? I thought we was in the ocean. I thought we was in the sea. You know what I mean? Like what is the dating pool? There are
Yeah.
plenty of fish in the sea. We
Yeah.
not even in the pool. I'm not sure. I don't even know where we got that analogy from,
Yeah.
but my feeling and my thoughts are that as deeply as I desire love, most everybody else does too.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I'm willing to work for this and strive for it and to be present and to love someone and take care of someone for the rest of my life, there are plenty of other people, billions on the planet who have that same willingness and desire.
Yeah.
I think that it's about remembering that spirit absolutely has your back,
That's
that
true.
life is so incredibly limitless and expansive,
That's true.
that time is not linear and never was. I tell
Yeah.
my students, like, if you look at the way time actually moves, it's more cyclical than linear.
Yeah.
Like, we keep going through seasons, we keep coming round to the same things again and
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
It's not a straight line. If it was a straight line, you would have one birthday and we wouldn't come back to that again. We wouldn't keep having these returns. We move in circles,
Yeah.
not in a straight line.
Yeah.
So, and when you come back to the point, you should come back wiser. You should come
Mm.
back more mature.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if something is a circle, it means it has no beginning and no end. It is
Yeah.
endless.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, being in this mindset that whatever I think is real, whatever I can imagine already exists, that is rooted in my beliefs about magic and about life being so incredibly expansive. You can't even begin to grasp how open and receptive and malleable and how bendy reality is.
Yeah.
Like, life will literally bend for you. It will
That's true.
bend to your will. It will
Yes.
rearrange itself to
Yes.
give you what you really believe or truly know you can have.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
that's why I say God and God's universe gonna have to figure it out. You choose love, they're gonna have to figure out how to get you your man from Australia or wherever the hell he's at.
Yes.
Okay, they're gonna have to figure it out. That's their job. They got to figure out the details. Ain't nobody ask you to figure out how. We want you to place your order. Tell us what it is
Okay.
you desire. And so that that's that meditation shit. That's that astral projection. That's that magic. That's that
Yeah.
conjure. It's just like understanding prayer being retroactive and
Yeah.
proactive.
That's true.
It is a force. It's not begging. It's not empty wishing. When I speak a prayer right now from my ancestors, I believe that that prayer works retroactively, even into the distant past.
Hmm.
So if let's say you have an ancestor who, you know, just got their first plot of land and things aren't going so well, they dealing with some bullies around the place or whatever. The prayers that you pray for legacy and success for your ancestors, I believe that they work right now. That is the reason doors open for them. It is the
Hmm.
reason that they had a chance meeting with someone. It is the reason they met this person and fell in love and you were made possible. It
Yeah.
is your prayers right now that affect that. I believe our prayers right now can affect our unborn descendants.
Yes.
So prayer to me is a force that is timeless.
Hmm.
It's not bound or limited by what we think of these time space rules.
Yeah.
So for me, when I'm writing, it is the same as when I write to deity, when I write to God. I start all of my prayers off, dear God,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a letter.
Yeah.
So when I write to God, when I write to my husband, when I write to my spirit, like, this is timeless. It's not limited by space, it's not limited by distance, it's not limited by anything.
Yeah.
So I enter a very limitless space when I pray, and those letters to me are not very different from prayer. You
Yeah.
understand?
And like when you're talking about prayer and you mentioned it, you're not talking about from a I hope I find my husband and I really, let's talk about that because for me, what you're talking about is affirmative prayer.
Yeah,
You're declaring and decreeing. You're not begging and
yeah,
pleading. There's a
yeah. No, I don't do
difference.
that. I
And
wouldn't
so,
insult God like that. I wouldn't.
ooh, I love that. You would not insult God like that.
I
Tell us more about
wouldn't.
that. Why do you feel like if we're begging, because some people still pray like that. That's how they were taught to pray sometimes. That's on your knees and in a begging manner, in a pleading manner, in a this has to work manner. So it's like,
Right.
why do you feel like if you're begging and pleading, you're insulting God?
Because you're coming to the absolute power in existence, that which is your very self. You're coming to the one that created you, the one that loves you irrevocably, the one that loves you completely, unconditionally. And you're acting like they don't want to do this for you, like they don't
Okay.
want to take care of
Okay.
you. Like,
Okay.
there's some wishy washy, conditionally loving, like,
Hmm.
like you acting like
Mm-hmm.
I'm ops. If I'm God and you're coming to me and you just say what you're saying, like, don't treat me like I might not do it, or
Yeah.
worse, I might not be able to do it. Like, that's insulting. That's
Okay.
insulting.
Okay.
I don't think that the begging and the pleading and acting like it can't be done is, I don't even know which God you would even be talking to, but it could not
Okay.
possibly be the all loving, all knowing, everywhere present God. It could not possibly be that one. I don't
Wow.
know who the hell these people be talking to.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I don't pray like that. I
Okay,
haven't prayed
y'all
like
heard
that since
her.
I was 10.
Okay, y'all. Oh, you heard her, right? Okay, just make sure y'all that was clear for y'all. Okay, cool. Now I have another post that you wrote that I resonated with as well. And it says, continuing to show love after a past littered with betrayal, abuse, pain, separation, grief, abandonment, and heartbreak is intensely powerful. Only
Yeah.
the most courageous people are lovers. And when I read this, I'm like, yeah, I agree. I feel like, I've had my past heartbreaks in the past, but I've always loved again. I've always loved again. I've always had a new lover or had new experiences with a new lover. And I don't know. I think I just keep my mind open. Like I just have experiences with new people, and so I do know there are some people that they go through some really horrendous heartbreaks, and I can see how one can close their heart off. I can see how
Yeah.
that heartbreak can affect them and be like, well, maybe I don't want a partner. Maybe I'm gonna guard my heart now. I'm gonna guard my heart now because this person in the past hurt me. Maybe I shouldn't have been this nice or quote unquote naive. And now I really need to just protect myself. And so now they're going into love from a defensive place rather than a place of like openness, in my opinion.
Right.
And so I do feel like if you're able to love again, it does take courage. And so I just wanted to ask more about that post for you in terms of your own personal experiences with heartbreak and being able to keep your heart open.
Yeah. I like the word courage because the etymology of it is something like strong heart
Mm,
or brave heart,
mm,
right? So even the word courage is talking about your heart.
mm,
And the heart is not glass, it's not some fragile thing that you can drop and break. It is a muscle, you
mm.
know? And like any muscle, the stronger, you could strengthen it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It can become
yeah,
strong with use. So, first of all, if you went through a breakup and it was like the other person did you bad, they did you dirty, and now you are closing yourself off to even the possibility of a new love. I don't like that shit. And I never liked it
yeah,
because I feel like I didn't deserve to suffer the first time. Why would I suffer twice?
yeah,
Because this person was incapable or unwilling.
mm,
Just some people just don't want to, unwilling to love me.
yeah.
I'm gonna move on with my life. I'm a Sagittarius, so
Okay,
my move on game is very strong, but I'm
okay,
not about to suffer behind you because you were unable or unwilling to love me. There's also this poem from, I think it's called The Community of the Spirit by Rumi, which I think
mm,
Rumi is probably one of the world's greatest love poets
okay.
to ever breathe oxygen or write with ink. Okay. Like
Wow.
Rumi is incredible. I think it's a 12th century Persian poet, but let me tell you, he wrote a line in one of his poems that is something like, "You cry, he left me, she left me, 20 more will come."
Hmm.
You have to understand that the world is filled with intelligent, sexy, interesting, wonderfully
Yeah.
crafted, skilled, okay, lovers. Like the
Yes.
world, it's always
Wonderfully
gonna be
crafted, skilled lovers. I love it.
it's always going to be some more interesting people to come your way. And if you just are going to block yourself off from the fun, that's just silly. And
Yeah,
I just feel like, yes, we may have been hurt. We may have had those experiences. We may have cried, but we ain't silly.
yeah,
We're not dumb. We're going
yeah,
to, that goes back to abundance. It goes back to being a selfish babe. To me, selfish babe is caring how you feel. It's
yeah,
caring enough how you feel. Like, I'm not about to let you walk all over me. You're not going to cross my boundaries. You're not going to make me feel like shit. You're not going to destroy me and ruin all that I've built. I'm going to protect this. I'm going to continue creating the life that I desire for myself. I'm going after my dreams. I'm doing things that make me feel good.
yeah,
I'm going to eat things that make me feel good. I'm going to have experiences that make me feel good. This is my life.
yeah,
Okay. You live yours. I'm going to live mine. And it's knowing that the self is home.
Hmm.
Self is home. That's what selfish means to me because
Yeah.
I think a lot of girls, especially my first experience being called selfish was not a compliment, and it came from my mother.
Hmm.
So anybody who's had that experience of someone calling them selfish and it was like an insult,
Yeah.
I think it is important to remember that you ain't do shit wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You should prioritize how you feel, your experience. And I think that after going through some type of a breakup or a breakdown in relationship, you keep your faith, you keep your hope, and you keep loving yourself. You heal yourself, and then you get the fuck back out there. Am I
Yeah.
allowed to cuss on the Selfish Babe
You are.
podcast?
I
I
curse a
be
lot,
cussing.
girl.
Okay, girl. I don't know if I ever heard you cuss on the podcast.
No,
You know, I
I
got to cuss.
do. I do. It's a-okay with
Ah.
me. Okay. It's a-okay with me. No
I'm like,
issue.
let me make sure that I'm not, offending the people. But yeah, no, you get back out there. Okay. I think that continuing to love yourself, even if other people cannot, is necessary. Like, it's okay if you don't like me or love me. Like, I love me enough for all of us.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you be able to kind of go through maybe one of your past heartbreaks, if you don't mind sharing?
A heartbreak. Oh, these niggas don't really be hurting me like that. A heartbreak. A heartbreak.
Or a disconnect from somebody, whatever you want to call it?
Like, my heart is very much intact.
Yes.
I've loved.
Mm-hmm.
You know who I loved when I was 12 years old. I know it sounds funny. Listen, I like this boy. I had just moved from New York down to North Carolina,
Hmm.
and I liked this boy. I
Yeah.
mean, I really liked him. He was so smart. You listen, you smart, you gonna get me every single time.
Yeah.
Okay, a smart man is my type.
Yeah.
He was so smart, and I liked him. And he was like a nerd.
Hmm.
He was like a nerd kid. So he asked me to be his girl. I wasn't
Yeah.
allowed to date till I was 16, but he asked me to be his little middle school girl.
Yeah.
And I said no because I knew that people didn't like him. And
Hmm.
he knew that was why I said no. Right.
Hmm.
Listen, Bossy today don't give a shit about what nobody think, people's
Hmm.
opinions.
Yeah.
But when I was 12, I cared.
Yeah.
So that really hurt him.
Mm.
So fast forward 5 years, I'm 17 now. I'm in college. I'm allowed to date. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he and I got together.
Okay.
I'm now at the beginning of my magical journey. I done left the church. I don't give a shit what y'all. I don't, went blonde, child. I don't care what y'all think. I started getting my nails done. I'm the shit. I'm
Yeah.
17. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I started dating this guy that I liked since I was 12 years old. Okay. And we had the most incredible, intense few weeks together.
Few
This
weeks.
was the first girl, few weeks. Let me tell you, this was the first time. But right, we were together for a few weeks, but I really, really cared about him for 5 years. But we were together and we would make out. You remember making out? I don't know if people
Yes,
still
I
do
love
that.
girl. Give me.
I love making
I love me
out.
a makeout session. Tongue me down, okay?
I love making out. Making out. People need to make out. There are studies that show that if you continue making out with your partner, you kiss them, that relationship has a better chance of lasting. Is if
Okay,
y'all
I love
kiss each
that.
other.
Yes.
So we would make out for hours, child.
Wow.
Okay. To the point where my mouth would hurt. Like that's a make out. My mouth would be hurting after we were done kissing, like
Yeah.
sore
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah.
So after we're together, I'm like, I'm about to quit my college and come up to your college because he was on break. So I'm gonna come back up there with you. He broke up with me. Let me tell you something. And he told his sister that it was payback for when I rejected him as a 12-year-old. Child, let me
Girl,
tell you something.
5
Yeah.
fucking years of
He held on to
holding that
that.
in?
Girl, he an Aries. He
That
couldn't
is
help
fucking
himself.
trifling.
I know. And I really
Boy.
loved him. And I think he still cares about me. Like we're still in contact and everything. But he just could not get past the rejection. I was so sad.
Oh,
For a straight year, I did not leave my dorm to do anything
wow.
except for go to class. Nothing. I
Wow.
stayed in there. I wasn't eating. I wasn't taking care of my hair. My nails were never done. I was wearing baggy clothes. Like it, I would get up out of that bed to go to class and then come back for
Hmm.
an hour. For a year, I was this way.
Wow.
I had never experienced. That's my first like experience with. It was out of control too. I didn't even. Sometimes you can think, well, not us, but with this level of awareness, I don't think it happened so much. But then I had sunk into this dark emotional space that I wasn't even aware that
Mm.
I was experiencing a depression. One of my friends had to tell me, we need you to go to therapy. And it
Hmm.
was my first time going to therapy, honey.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what got out of it, because I went to an HBCU. That's a historically black college or university for the kids on the line. Okay.
Yeah.
I went to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University
I
in
went to
Greensboro, North
FAMU
Carolina.
for
Period.
grad school.
So I went, and I went to A&T Aggie Pride, and we could get free therapy back then. So
Okay.
I went to the therapist, and the therapist was a white lady.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling her all my little problems, and she kept giving me these shocked faces like she ain't never heard nothing like this. And I was like, girl, you got to learn how to control your face. I told my therapist, like, you can't be looking at us like this. It's too much judgment on your face. And at the end of my probably second or third session, she said, I don't know if I can help you, but I think I know something that can.
Mm.
I said, well, what is it? This woman gave me her personal CD set of the Lauryn Hill Unplugged album.
Wow.
Her personal. She said, now I like you, but I don't like you enough to disappear with my CD. She said, bring my CD back. I took the CD back home. Back then we used to burn the CDs. So I
Mhm.
copied the CD and I listened to that CD until I was better.
Wow.
Yeah. Lauryn Hill healed me, honey. You know that
Wow.
song, Water? Girl, Adam something theory. Girl,
Yeah.
I listened to that album until I was okay again. It
Hmm.
was music that healed me.
Hmm.
That so now my protocol, anytime that I have a breakup, I go straight to music. I don't wait. I don't I don't let myself fall apart. I don't let
Hmm.
myself stop eating.
Yeah.
One thing about me, I'm gonna eat now. I
Yeah.
eat my food and I will
Yeah.
listen to my music and I imagine myself totally just visualization,
Hmm.
totally empowered, happy, loving, being loved, out dancing with my friends. Like I go into my mind and I imagine all these different scenarios. I
Yeah.
go into what I call breakup protocols,
Hmm.
which includes certain like specific playlists.
Yeah.
None of that lovey dovey, he broke my heart, Mary J. Blige bullshit.
Because you're
None of
gonna be
that.
crying, 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 crying,
Girl,
crying.
I will not, because that's what it'll do. I don't listen to none
Yeah.
of that. I don't go to the places I used to go with them. I don't even drink I don't make my coffee the way I used to make it when I was with that person.
Okay.
I immediately go into protocols. I'll read some Rupi Kaur, right? Some Milk and Honey, some of her
Oh yeah, I have
poetry.
I have that book. Yes.
It's so good for breakup protocols. It's
Okay.
so good. And I listen to my music until I'm over it. And it don't take me more than a few weeks
Okay.
because I will never be down for a year of my life.
Yes. Yes.
Over 3 weeks,
Yes.
it was so intense. It was so
Wow.
intense. But yeah, so now I have breakup
I
protocols.
love that. I've
Yeah,
never heard
girl.
of that. I love that so
You have
much.
to. When you feel that little scratch, like if it's like, season changing and
Yeah.
feel a little scratch in your throat, you know
Yeah.
what you need to do. You need to do it right
Yes.
now. You can't wait
Yes.
for it. I got protocols for breakups. I'm not about
Wow.
to be you won't get me.
That
I
is
got work to do.
beautiful, Bossy. I no, I love that. Selfish babe,
Yeah,
take
girl.
fucking notes. Take fucking notes. Okay, she said break up protocols and what helped
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think a white woman giving you a black woman's music
Yeah.
is like powerful.
Yeah.
She said, I don't know if I can help you, but here you go, girl.
Right. Here goes
Just
some Lauryn
find
Hill.
that to be beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
It
so
was good.
beautiful. That's
It was
abundance,
good.
bitch.
Yeah, it is. Okay. And that's one of my favorite albums to this day. I'll still listen to that album. And
Wow.
that album it'll heal you. It'll
Wow.
heal you. But yeah, listening to it, and there are parts of that CD, it's unplugged, it's raw
Yes.
footage, it's
Yes.
unedited. So it'll be parts where she's like, I don't get dressed up for y'all no more.
Yeah.
She would be taking her bracelets off in the middle of the concert. Like,
Yeah.
it's so healing. It's just you getting to see one of the greatest, young minds in
Mm,
music, be her authentic and real self and
mm.
explain and talk you through each track, and it's beautiful music.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful. I had a recent experience, and I hadn't made a podcast about this yet, but I plan to, where you guys know, my selfish babes know, I had gone through a recent breakup past maybe like 4 or 5 months now. And this breakup was like, we were together for like almost 5 years. So I was processing, there's some extra emotions that I've been processing. And recently it wasn't necessarily the breakup. It wasn't the fact that we broke up. It was I was processing the way that I was treated during the breakup, because sometimes when you have a breakup, and well, at least when you're living with somebody, you have a breakup, and when you're living with somebody and the energy is just not right in the house, that can really affect you. And so I was processing
Yeah.
how I was treated during the breakup before we actually left the space, the same space that we were living in. And I was really upset about that, but I didn't know I was upset about that. And so there was a song, Chop and Slide by Victor Nee. He's an Afrobeat artist. And he talks about really loving this girl, but this girl is on her whole shit. Like she don't want no relationship. She just wanna, she wanna have a good time and that's it. But he like, I wanna
Right.
love on you, I wanna be with you. But she like, nah, I don't want that. And I had went upstairs, and I have my like little self-love closet where I have like a little fur rug. I have my mirror. And I was like, I want to be in my
Yes.
closet, and I feel like I want to dance to this song. And so I just kind of go with, I feel like how I feel. And sometimes I'll go with what I need to do without knowing why yet, right? So I felt like I need to go into my self-love closet. I need to move my body, I need to stretch, and I played this song. So I'm moving my body, I'm
Yes.
stretching, I'm playing this song, and I'm really moving my body how it wants to move. And so that could be thrashing around, that could be stomping around. I mean, it's really just how my body wants to move, and I go with it. And then I end up on the floor crying. And I end up on the floor crying. And I said, oh, okay, this is why the song is like resonating with me. And I said, I didn't like how I was treated during the breakup. And
Right.
I felt very disrespected. And I felt like I owed myself an apology. And so in the mirror, I literally said, I'm sorry. I
Yes.
apologize. I apologize to myself. And I apologize to myself for even dealing with that for 2 weeks, because that was just 2 weeks too long, right? And it was just like, wow, I didn't know that I was holding on to that type of sadness or how I felt when it came to me. And it had really nothing to do with my ex. It was really about me. And I think
Yes.
sometimes when we have breakups or disconnections from different partners, we can have so many different realizations about ourselves. And I felt like in that
Yes.
moment, I had a realization about myself. And I said, oh, we're never doing this again. We're not having somebody play with you like this. Like if
Yeah.
if you really say who you are and, hold yourself to a certain standard, we're not doing this. And so I had to really apologize to myself and let that go. And sometimes what I've noticed, at least with disconnections from past partners, at least with this one, I think it's just like certain things just come up over time, right? It has been about
Yes.
four or 5 months now, and overall I'm really good. But then it's like out the blue, something comes up, like that came out the blue, and I said, oh wow, didn't know I had to process that. So it's like certain things about the relationship or certain things about the ending of the relationship I'm still processing and purging from my body and purging from my spirit. And I even had to think about my heart too. And I could see why people would become bitter. I could see why people would put up guards around their heart, because even during the breakup, I'm like rethinking about love for myself, rethinking about
Yeah.
partnerships for myself. And I've just gotten more clarity about that. And I've been able to meet some amazing people that have shown me love, and I love them dearly.
Yeah.
And even now when it comes to love, because I want to talk about love in what we see for ourselves for love, because I know you want your husband, girl. I know you declaring
Yes.
the cream your husband. Okay, your husband is here for you now. And so for
Period.
me, I'm declaring and decreeing my multiple lovers, right? So
Yes.
ideally, I'm looking for or affirming three lovers.
Yes.
Three lovers. I know I want
Yes.
one man, one woman, and I'm not sure about the third one. Maybe that'll make the universe surprise me with that one.
Yes.
But yeah, I think for the past, even while I was with my ex-girlfriend, we always talked about polyamory, but we just never really did it, And I've always wanted to experience multiple lovers or being loved by multiple people and just seeing what that looked like. And I feel like now, as I'm in my singlehoodness or whatever, I'm exploring that and I am declaring that and talking to people about it and, seeing
Yeah.
how they feel about it. And
Yes.
that has been received well, which has been great. And I think it's just allowing me to speak more of my authenticity and really be like who I am. I feel like I truly believe that we live multiple lives. That's how, in one life. I
I
feel like we
agree.
live
I
multiple
agree.
lives in one life because,
I
girl,
agree.
I'd be like, damn, bitch, I've lived. I'm only
Right.
31. I'm
I
32
agree.
now. But I just feel like I've lived. And I'm like,
Yes.
multiple lives. So I'm just like, okay, I'm in this phase of my life now. I want to see how this looks. And that's what I see for myself is multiple lovers and multiple lovers catering to me. And of course, I already know what I bring and they're going to be catered to as well. And I just want to, how we talk about how the world is abundant and delicious and like that. I just feel like for me with multiple lovers, I just feel like this, like, that's the best way I can describe it. Sometimes I describe words like, I just feel this feeling of like joy and happiness and like fun. Like you said that you're a Sag. My moon is in Sag. So
Yes.
like I love to explore. I love like adventure. I love to travel. I love like different things like that. And so I'm just like, I want to do all of that with my lovers around the world. Like that's just what I want
Yeah.
to do.
Yes.
So we'll see one day.
Ah,
One day I think I definitely want to have like a life partner and have some kids with my life partner. But then I see like little partners branched off in between. So I kind of want to talk
yes.
to you about like, what's your ideal husband? Like, what's your ideal type of love that you see for yourself?
So, first, let me tell you, I have recently taken the brakes off. I've taken the training wheels off, the brakes off, because I'm Black American and I have lived with these tribal agreements,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to race,
Hmm.
that I'm not sure are useful or helpful to me
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does take a little bit of, again, caring how you feel, caring about your life, right? And how you plan to live it to kind of step outside of some of these old agreements.
Yeah.
Because especially as a Black American woman, you start, moving moving too far away from, melanin. And folks,
Yeah.
it's
Side
like you
eyeing you.
betraying all of us, right?
Yep.
You betraying us. And it's not even, and it's like that specifically, I think, for Black women.
Mm-hmm.
Black men, they nosedive out of the melanin pool, the melanin side of the spectrum. And they feel like, they're God.
Yeah.
So specifically as a Black American woman, I have, first of all, and I made a video about this, like Black
Mm-hmm.
women, I want you to go where the love is.
I say.
I want you to go where you are loved, where you are taken care of. So a lot of people, my clients specifically, they'll come to me and it's the tall, dark, handsome thing. Like that he got to be tall. These
Mm-hmm.
women want men to be damn tall as hell
Yeah.
first. They want him to be fine. They want him to have money. They want him to be good in bed. And then there's not a lot of thought after that for most of my girls. And I'm like, what
Mm.
about ambition? What about intelligence?
Mm-hmm.
An intelligent person is my type.
Yeah.
You cannot, if you're unintelligent, you are boring to me. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And for people who have, a very healthy, vibrant thought life, you'll be bored he might be tall and fine as fuck, but if he dumb,
Okay.
anyways. So he has to be intelligent. He has to be spiritual. Like there has to be very expansive thinking about the spiritual side of life,
Mm-hmm.
You cannot you cannot be a mundy, a mundane, a
Hmm.
muggle.
I was
You
gonna say
must,
I was thinking Muggle from Harry Potter.
right? You must have this expansive way of looking at life. I must be able to respect your mind, your creativity. You must be able to teach me something. We have to have strong spirituality. We have to have a strong connection. And there's so many like little, nuances to the
Mm.
relationship that I personally need to have in place.
Mm.
I want you, if I can only trust one person on this planet after myself,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be my partner.
Yeah.
If I if I'm somewhere, I need to know that you're gonna come get me. If you
Mm-hmm.
tell me that you're gonna do something, I must be able to trust your word.
Yeah.
So trust for me is probably the big intelligence, trust. And for me, that would probably take care of a lot of the attraction.
Mm.
Is if I can trust my man, he said he was gonna do it.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be done. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Even if it seems impossible to y'all, if that man say he gonna do it, he gonna do whatever it takes
I
to
see.
get it done. I like very masculine people because I feel like I have a very healthy amount of masculine energy. Like
Mhm.
my sacred masculine is very much awake
Yeah.
and has been awake, my
Yeah.
whole life. I feel very protective of people, very more logical than emotional, very
Mm.
mental, very physical. So it takes a lot for me to really relax into my divine feminine. But
Mm.
if I'm dealing with people, even when I'm around other women, I
Yeah.
get polarized into my masculine very easily because I'm like,
Mm.
I got to protect her. She out here,
Yeah.
swinging her hair. She twerking. She done had a few drinks. I got to make sure she okay. I
Yeah.
got to be on my P's and Q's. I get super in my warrior, protective, more
Yeah.
sacred masculine energy with other women. But if I'm with a man and he too, indecisive, overly emotional, illogical, not thinking things through, don't know how to strategize,
Yeah.
not a provider. Now I have to and I hate it.
Because
I hate it.
you want to rest in your feminine, right?
I would love to relax and
Okay.
rest in my feminine.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I want to be feeding babies from my titties.
Okay.
I want to be reading books, making art, eating fruit.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to be recording things and talking to women all over the world. I want to be dressed like a goddess. I
Yeah.
want hair down to my ass. I want to
Yes.
look good and feel good. And I really think like having someone who is ready to build and co-create a life with you,
Mm.
to me that is what I've desired since I was very young.
Mm.
Okay?
Mm.
And I was convinced by the people around me that, it's like, good luck. Like it was very sarcastic kind of energy around me. And then told that I needed to go to college. I never wanted to go to college, my love. I
Mm.
never wanted that for myself. I
Mm.
wanted to be married. I wanted to be in nature. I wanted to have a shit ton of kids.
Wow.
Okay. My kids, other people's kids, I wanted children around
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
and to have a natural life, to have a free life, to build, to be in nature as much as possible, to like be in the waters, to be with the trees, to
Yeah.
walk up mountains, to hike, like to be outside.
See.
That
Yeah,
is what I've always
girl.
wanted for myself. And I need somebody who is a very peaceful person, a person who, while we are materially abundant, um a person who is not materialistic,
Mm.
a person who can appreciate the luxurious and the wonderful things that men have created, the art, right? Like
Yeah.
somebody built this hotel, like somebody
Yeah.
designed this shit. This is architecture. This is, it's beautiful. But somebody who can appreciate what God has made and
Mm.
feel, to
I love
feel
that.
sustenance of that, to feel spiritually fed by that, to enjoy that. um, but for
Mm.
me, the partner is the one you trust absolutely, the one you can do everything and anything with,
Yeah.
the person who knows you and loves you, like
Yeah.
really loves you, like, and there's nothing that can make them stop. And the person who won't, there's a line that Jay-Z had said that he didn't want another woman to know something about him that his wife didn't know.
Mm.
So that
Mm.
I think that your partner should be the one who
Mm.
who keeps your secrets. The
Yeah.
person you share every last detail with, and you're safe to do this.
Yeah.
Um and if the self is home, then I think that this other person, how Frida Kahlo and her husband Diego Rivera, I think his name is Diego
Hmm.
Rivera, if I'm not mistaken, they had their own houses. Like Frida is my girl. I love Frida.
Okay. I watched
And
the movie, but I didn't know she had her own house. So
she had her house and he had his house, and their houses were connected by a bridge.
I love that.
So if you are home for yourself, then this person is the neighbor. Okay. Like they right there. They're with you. And I think that, I posted a video today and people are like, one girl was like, I don't think everybody can manifest this. I don't think that everybody will be able to manifest this love that you
Mm.
describe. And the first thing to understand, going back to abundance, is
Mhm.
that not everybody wants what you want.
Exactly.
First of all,
Yeah.
not everybody wants what you want.
Hmm.
You're not competing with anybody for anything. And going back to being a thriving, flourishing, selfish babe,
Yeah.
honey, if y'all want to sit there with empty plates at this feast, that's on y'all.
Okay.
I'm gonna have what I my love, and God and
Okay.
God's universe is gonna have to figure it out.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I
So
think
yeah.
that speaks to that person's personal mindset and where they're
Yeah.
at in their mind about abundance. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love the idea of a bridge home between a
Yeah.
lover. So I've been thinking
Right.
about this recently. Okay, so right now I live with me and my puppy.
I love
And
that
I love
puppy.
me
That
and my
puppy's so
puppy. Thank you, me and
he's so
Superstar.
cute.
And I think it's been no, I have lived. It's probably been about let's say 3 years since I lived by myself before my other relationship, before I moved in together. And I'm really enjoying living in my space. And recently, I was looking around. I have upstairs, downstairs. I was like, wow, all this stuff is mine. I was like laughing. I was like, wow, everything in here is mine.
Yeah.
And I just thought about how much space I took up in a good way. And I thought about when I'm ready to have another partner, what that would look like.
Right.
And do I want to live with my partner? That was a thought that came to my mind. Do I want to live with my partner? I've done the living with I've lived with all three of my long-term relationships. Okay, for 10 years, I have been partnered, okay? And they were all at least 3 years or more in terms of length of time. So
Yeah.
I've done that. And now, in terms of where I'm at now, I'm like, well, do I want that? And so, when you talked about the bridge home, I've
Yeah.
been thinking about what a life partner would look like, a lifelong partnership would look like. And I can't say that I would not mind living separately with my partner.
I
I wouldn't
agree.
mind going over to their house, them coming over to my house. I wouldn't mind having a bridge home. I think when I think about raising children, would I want us to be in the same vicinity? Yes. I think that's really
Yeah.
important with raising children. But before children, I'm open to seeing what that
Exactly.
looks like. I'm really
So
open
am
to seeing
I.
what that looks like, you know? And so I feel like maybe I'm in this space where I am really I'm looking at what traditionally has been given to us, especially when it comes to
Right.
me and what that looks like and relationships and what that looks like. And I'm like, do I want this? Yes, no, maybe. What part of this do I want? And what part of this do I
Right.
want? And then now creating something new for myself. So, like you said, everybody does not want the same thing. And when it comes to love, we may not want the same thing. And so I think it's really important, selfish babe, to think about what love looks like for you. And as we talk, like
Yes.
as you hear Bossy and me talk about what love looks like for us, I want you to be thinking about what does it look like for you because we don't want the same thing. Not everybody wants a marriage and kids and for the rest of your life. Like that's what people do. That's what people have done. But we
Right.
don't have to choose that anymore. There's so many
Right.
options. There's a way that you can create the love for you. And so I want you to really think about what does that look like? And also when you think about what that looks like, I want you to inquire like, well, why do you think that you want this? Is it really because you want it or is it because it's what's been shown to you?
Right.
And then what hasn't been shown to you and what is your true desire? Because I feel like that's where I'm at now, is where I'm
Yes.
talking about my true desire. I received it and I felt so good and I feel so good redefining what love looks like for me, y'all. So
Yes.
really be honest, really be truthful, and really look into your heart. Your heart gives you your desires, your heart shows you your desires. And as a selfish babe, I don't want you to look to not explore all of that, right? You talked, Bossy, you talked about
Hmm.
our heart being a muscle. It's not fragile. Our heart, our heart does hold abundance for ourselves, right? And so it's like as you are thinking about the life that you want to create, really feel into your heart space, really feel into like what is going to make your life an abundant life and joyful life, a loving life,
Yeah.
and know that you can have that type of life. Know that that's possible for you. We don't have to go back to what has always been known. We can try something new and kind of go from there. So yeah,
Amen.
I loved us talking
That's
about that.
so
That was so
good. Me
good.
too. I love it. It's another
Yes.
girl podcast.
Yes, ma'am.
This is such
I
a good
do want to,
idea.
yes, I do want to move over into next topics, and I kind of want to talk more about the things that you do because the girls need to know what you do. And I know that you call yourself Bossy Bruja, and I like to always break down things for my selfish babe because want I don't assume that people know what these things are, right? And so
Right.
how would you describe like what is a bruja?
So the Bruja is actually a Mexican worker, a spellcaster, a healer. So let me just say why my company is called Bossy Bruja is
Mm.
not because I'm a Mexican woman, not because I do practice a little brujeria now,
Mm-hmm.
but in the beginning, it was just um a rough translation from the word witch
Mm.
to the same word in Spanish, which I want you to understand bruja is much more than just simple translation from
Yeah.
English to Spanish. The reason, though, that my business is called Bossy Bruja is because a former friend and I were in a group. We're in a group ritual. We were casting for a house. We were praying together. My spirit said no candles that night. Everyone agreed. But then this friend went and, she got the candle,
Yeah.
anyways, and that candle burned her house down. Right. So
Mm.
I am a person. I'm the oldest child of my mother's children.
Mm.
I'm the CEO babe. Like I am very comfortable in a leadership position.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't really ask a lot of questions. I just kind of state what I want. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even the way I pray, I'm not a beggar. I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So we were among these people in this group and we were casting for this house. This is the night that her house burned down. And I'm essentially telling people what to do. And in front of these people that I didn't know too well, in retrospect, I don't cast spells with strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't do
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, but in front of these people that she knew, but I didn't know, she called me Bossy Bruja. She said, "You're a bossy Bruja," like as an insult.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like to be mean, like a little mean girl kind of thing.
Yeah.
She was a
Yeah.
cancer. And I understood that I was probably, you need to kind of slow it down a little bit for Cancerian women, maybe not be so fiery and so bossy with them. But it pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
Being talked to like this in front of
Yeah.
these people.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I changed the name of my page to Bossy Bruja and I
Okay.
turned it into a million. You know what I mean?
Ashay. Ashay.
Because one thing about me is if I don't cuss you out, bitch, this energy got to go somewhere. You understand? Like, I'm not going to cuss out a Cancerian woman. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to create emotional damage, especially because we were friends at the time. But this energy, girl, I was hot. When I say I
Yeah.
was hot, because
Yeah.
who the fuck are you talking to?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I get that I'm a little bossy, but you can, just simply tell me, girl,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
relax. And it maybe if you listen to me, your goddamn house wouldn't burn down. Okay.
That part.
You
That
know what
part.
I'm saying? So it's like out of the four of us, I'm the most practiced, the most studied witch here.
Mhm.
I'm trying to help us stay safe.
Yeah.
I'm hearing my intuition. I'm not necessarily telling you to do shit because I want you to. I'm telling you, you know, as firmly as I think I maybe need to for us to be safe and to stay on track with this ritual. The girl started calling on Oya, one of the girls in this group, and I was like, why are you calling on Oya to get a new house? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like that's storms. That's a
Mm-hmm.
little lightning. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's the woman is at the graveyard. Why are you calling on her? Leave that woman alone. Leave her alone.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so, cause I ain't cussed the girl out, I changed my name of my business to Bossy Bruja, and it just really stuck. Um, I've met, trained, skilled elder Brujas
Yeah.
over the years, and I do see some similarities between Brujeria and some of the workings that we do in hoodoo.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably should have been Bossy Hoodoo or something, but no, girl, that was somebody said that shit to me as an insult, and I
Yeah.
was like, Either I'm cussing you out or I'm gonna go make some money. And I chose to go make some money. I chose
Okay.
peace.
Ashe.
Chose peace. So that's where that,
Yeah.
that name came from. Um, but Bruja is a Mexican witch, okay?
Yeah.
Um, and it's a person who practices brujeria, a person who casts some spells. But they do have some folk magic that's very similar to what we do here too.
Hmm. Hmm.
And even what some of my Indian friends do, the natives, some of what they
Yeah.
do, I've seen some similarities with what Italian witches do.
Okay.
So there's the folk magic, you see a lot of crossover, a lot of kitchen work, a lot of, they're not above some left-handed works, which
Yeah.
is, you know, if you need to hex somebody or get your man back,
Yeah.
not necessarily above that, but it's also a right-handed magic, luck drawing for money, for prosperity, for healing.
Yeah.
Okay, so but yeah, it is a little bit of and also I went on to become a devotee of a Mexican personification of death, right? I'm
Yeah.
not Mexican at all.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, the devotees of Tantissima, they have taken care of me for the
Yeah.
last few years that I've been a devotee. They have welcomed me, they've taken care of me because this particular spirit, she works very well with marginalized people.
Mm.
She chooses who she wants to, even if you're not of Mexican descent.
Yeah.
And I came to her very, very respectfully, and I started my relationship with her by writing letters.
Yeah.
Um, and after that, some synchronicities happened. I created an altar for her. But yeah, girl, the name came from disrespect,
Yeah.
and I had to
I,
transmute it.
I feel that way even with Selfish Babe because I think at one point you had mentioned your mom had called you selfish, but it was more of an insult. And
Yeah,
usually when I hear the word selfish, it really is an insult. And when I thought about Selfish Babe or creating Selfish Babe, and it was about women putting themselves first, I was like, we
yeah,
can make this a positive thing. We don't have to make it a negative thing because normally when people say
it's
you are
not.
selfish, they're coming from a negative space, and I don't want it to be negative. And so for you calling yourself Bossy Bruja, making this a positive experience for you, okay, millions, which is really, really good.
Period. And
Yeah,
I'm cute, bossy. I'm not terrible, bossy. It's a cute little, you know,
yeah,
bratty kind of bossy. I'm not trying to hurt nobody, you know?
yeah, yeah. But tell us about some of your candle services and oils and like what you give to people because I want my selfish babes to know what you offer because you do offer some really great work for people that I know my selfish babes would be very interested in.
Yes. Okay. So first I do a 4-part burn service, candle service. So I have some elaborate altars in my house. I work my spirits. I say my prayers. Okay. One thing about me, I'm a pray. If I have
Mhm.
nothing else, no altars, no candles, no nothing, I'm going to pray.
Ashe.
But what I will do is I will set lights or light candles for whoever signs up, and I go over a 4-part series of burns. So we start with some type of road opening or blockbuster.
Mhm.
That's to open the way.
Mhm.
Even in some African traditional religions, we always begin by opening. You have to open the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Be open to receive, open the way. And
Yeah.
so, or we'll do blockbuster to destroy any obstacles. If there's something in your way, first we
Yeah.
will remove it. And then I always start with love drawing. I
Okay.
follow with prosperity work, and I will prioritize the love drawing over prosperity because in my estimation, like if all this thing, all of our world and our systems went to shit, the most important thing would be who you have with you,
Mm.
who's there to be with you and take care of you and handle things with you. It would be more important than, you know, how much of this green paper you have in your
Yeah,
wallet. Love
that's
is the
true.
priority. It has to be.
That's
And
true.
if you
Yeah.
have people around you who love you and take care of you, you can always, I mean, always get some money, you
Yeah,
know?
that's
So
true.
I prioritize love drawing and I don't limit it again to romantic love. So if a person is wanting to work on self-love, which is a huge thing for the last few years, the girls have been coming to me like, yes, we want partners and things, but
Yeah.
please help us take care of us and
Yeah.
to love us more. The girls have big hearts. They're very generous. They're taking care of everybody else all the time.
Yeah.
They must work on self love. And then I go into prosperity work. So prosperity is your business success, creative ideas, any creative projects you're working on.
Yeah.
Artists, it's really good for artists. It's really good for people who live off of tips, really good for people who are writing their own checks.
Yeah.
Um, People who are going after promotions, people who need to see more resources, like they need the check to go up with the cost of living.
Yeah.
And then I do protection. So I seal all of that work with a protection burn. Just because let me tell you, sometimes when you are having a glow up and you're experiencing success and you're changing and transforming, you're glowing, that could be hard for some people.
Yeah.
They don't, it could be hard for them. So we do just want to make sure we put protections on it. So that's a 4-part burn that I've been doing with a lot of success for the last several years. So
Okay.
I do that and I offer to people. I also have 17 different formulas of oils, some
Yeah.
for peace and self-control, some for relaxing into your divine feminine, some for healing, prioritizing healing the heart after a breakup. That's my
Yeah.
restoration oil,
Mm.
which I recently upgraded the restoration oil formula from an English lavender to a French lavender. Let me tell
Okay.
you, that motherfucking French lavender, girl, so good. She
Okay.
just completely transformed. It's like she came alive, and I started putting some Egyptian blue lotus in there, traditionally
Mm.
used for healing. So good, such a beautiful
Okay.
formula. So anyway, so I have stuff for healing. I have stuff for protection. I have my money oils, which is both of them are cinnamon oils. One of them is a cinnamon base called Uninterrupted Prosperity. This
Okay.
is a really good oil to use if you need the money to continue to flow, period.
Yeah.
Like no
Yeah.
matter what the economy is doing, what other people are doing,
Yes.
what the business is doing, I need these checks to keep coming. Uninterrupted prosperity is what I recommend. There's another one called Luxor. This is for people who are creating conditions for themselves that may include like basic needs, like you need the house, you need
Yeah.
transportation down, make sure the kids got some clothes, food, food for the house, education, all those basic things and opportunities, jobs, gigs, clients unlock, you would use Luxor. And my flagship product is called Magnetism. This was
Yeah.
my very first oil that I ever made.
I
And
think I remember this.
I love that. That oil was an accident. One
Hmm.
of my clients up in Canada called me and it was supposed to be a reading. It turned into me doing some work for her because she had been lending money to her boyfriend
Hmm.
who lived here in the States in New York, and he was not paying her back. And she feared that he was maybe dating other people and seeing other people and not being honest about it.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off. And I was like, girl, I'm gonna do a burn for you. And I needed an oil that my former teacher makes called Fuck You, Pay Me. I
Okay.
needed that oil, but I didn't have any.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to do this work right now. So I prayed like I always do. If I have a problem, I'm gonna pray.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
prayed and I kind of went into a trance and I just started grabbing stuff.
Hmm.
And I grabbed things for luck, things for attraction, things that were aligned with the moon, things to open the way. I grabbed things that were sweet. And that's where I was like, fuck you, pay me is a hot oil,
Yeah.
right? She will use cayenne. She will like, if you don't pay this, she's gonna make it hurt. But the way I work is I like to, kill them with kindness.
Mm.
I err on the side of sweetness, always have.
Hmm.
And for me, it's like the heat that I add to the magnetism oil is not a cayenne like you would expect.
Hmm.
It is a moonshine,
Hmm.
fire water.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So to
Okay.
make people drunk with you and
Okay.
easier to get them to do your will. So you don't
Okay.
have to fuck them up with peppers,
Yes.
but you're going to sweeten them up with honey. You're going to get them a little intoxicated off of your energy with some moonshine. Yes.
Yeah, I
And then
like
you
that.
get what you need. It's so good for people who need to attract money. They need to attract favors from people. They need to attract people who are going to easily and willingly take care of them.
Yeah.
Um, and give them things. In the beginning of my business, the majority of the people who are coming to me were dancers.
I
Part of
was
my
gonna,
hoodoo.
I was like, I wonder if this is like for sex workers. That's what I thought about
Yeah.
just now. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's excellent. Magnetism, that's your personal energy. What makes you alluring to people is very aligned
Mm-hmm.
with glamour magic.
Mm-hmm.
It's what makes you interesting and alluring to people. It's what draws people in.
Yeah,
And when you work on your magnetism, you don't have to work on targets. Like you
yeah,
don't have to like pick a specific guy or person. Like you don't have to pick anybody to work your magic on. What the girls say, become the spell. You
yes,
become
yes,
it.
yes.
And everybody has, another word is energy or charisma.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a certain level of it. Some people have more of it than others,
Yeah,
right? Especially, I have these really, they're not friends anymore, but I had these girls who were around me at one point, super pretty girls, and they
yeah.
couldn't understand. And they, so fucking disrespectful. They couldn't understand how and why I could create such quick success in my
Hmm.
projects, and they could not.
Hmm.
You It's like I'm not just a talking head. I'm not just a pretty girl standing around breathing in the oxygen.
Yeah.
I'm giving, I'm showing up, I'm using my best attributes, personality, my throat chakra. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
very open
Okay.
throat chakra. I'm gonna say what I'm
Okay.
saying. I can tell a story, I can work with words. I've always known what my strengths are. So really magnetism and glamour really lean into you playing to your strengths. And
Mm-hmm.
if you know how to do that, you can easily attract what you need from people. Now, you add in a little bit of honey and some moonshine and
Yeah.
some of them herbs that I got in there for beauty and for attraction, and then I make it under the moon, right?
Yeah.
I make it under new moons and full moons. We're about to make another batch tomorrow. You got you something. You
Yeah.
got you a little something. I even put a little Louisiana Von Von in there. I don't like telling people what's in
Okay.
my oil, okay? But Von Von, that right there make you real lucky. Okay,
Yeah.
real lucky. And so I created this oil. My first month I sold $20. I told myself if I can sell 20,000, if I could sell $20, I could sell 20,000. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it just kept going up and up and up. And now I've shipped all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's my premier
Sounds like my
oil.
selfish babes needs this magnetism oil. Okay, make sure y'all get
Yeah.
that. What's the website?
It's bossybruja.com.
Okay.
And it's under category oils, but yeah, my first customers were dancers. I
Yeah.
used to be a driver. I used to drive dancers home. They used to give me all the tea, tell
Okay.
me they were investing in their businesses and their education. Like they were buying properties with that money. I don't
Yeah.
know what people think is happening, but the people that I was meeting who are in, you know, who are dancers who are in that industry, they weren't fucking off their money. They were
Yeah.
investing in themselves, and it was gorgeous. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. And so they became my clients, and even my hoodoo education took part in strip clubs. Like
Okay.
part of it took place in strip clubs. So my
Wow.
teacher would be like, get dressed, we're going to the club.
Wow.
And it was abundance training, it was protection training. Some of the girls were being given invisibility work, some
Mm.
old like southern hoodoo things that I probably would never say in a podcast because
Mm.
I don't want to, I don't want to offend anybody's sensibilities, but some old hoodoo workings,
Yeah.
um, things that in you know involve
Yeah.
some harsher ingredients. But we were learning about these kinds of things. How to get a man up off of that fucking wallet. That's some of
Okay.
my fun stuff. That's that Cleo May. That's that old Cleo May stuff.
Okay.
So there are some elements that you can find in Cleo May that are also in magnetism. Um, but Cleo May is for attraction and protection for sex workers. Really, really
What is
good.
Cleo May?
Cleo May is an old hoodoo formula.
Okay. Okay. I've never
So
heard
Cleo
about it before.
May, yeah. Well, Cleo May, if you go to a hoodoo shop, a lot of them will have a
Okay.
Cleo May um formula,
Okay.
whether they got it from their grand or they got it, from their teacher or whatever it is. But this is specifically for sex workers, and it's for their get your money and stay safe. So
Okay.
it's dual acting formula.
Okay.
But yeah, so I have oils, I have candle services, I have an app. So if you want to learn and
Yes.
ask me a million questions, that's where you do it on my app.
Yes.
You can find it in the Google Play Store, Apple App Store. It's called Brujas.
Yes.
Brujas. You'll see a pink cauldron with a green dollar sign on it. That is
Mm.
my logo. That is the app. And everything else I do is on social media. I try to give away a lot of value
Mm.
and, you know, talk enough on social media and free platforms that the people who are aligned with the same kind of things we like
Yeah.
any type of spirituality, prayer can find me,
Yeah.
you
But
know?
guys, on her app, she teaches like for real. So tell us just a little bit more about that. Like you be teaching.
Yeah, I have always wanted to be a writer and a teacher. One of my intentions is I want to replace my income with my app. Like I want
Yeah.
to be able to live off of teaching and writing.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it would look like, but
Yeah.
once I started teaching on the app, I was like, "Oh, this is part of the manifestation."
Yeah.
Um, so I'm now at a point where I could just do the app. Like I
Yeah.
don't have to do anything else,
Yeah.
but I love doing it. I love
Yeah.
everything I do.
Yeah.
So on the app, I start people off and I want to say like a specific book title if that's okay.
Yeah.
The book is called Kabbalion, The Kabbalion. Kybalion, The Kabbalion. And that book is written by people, they go by the three initiates. Actually written by one person, but it's so called written by the three initiates. And it goes over the universal laws.
Mm.
So almost everybody who listens to this podcast episode will know about the law of attraction.
Yeah.
The law of attraction is important. It's based on the law of vibration.
Mm.
But if you will read the Kabbalion, it will teach you about seven universal laws: law of
Mm-hmm.
cause and effect, polarity,
Yeah.
rhythm, correspondence. And these things will just honestly make life easier. It will incredibly improve the efficacy of whatever your spiritual practice is. It will make things work for you if
Mm.
you understand that every cause has an effect. Like if
Yeah.
I do this, it will have a result. So you no longer have to be like, you know, feeling like it won't work. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, baby, if you mix green and blue, or no, yellow and blue, you will get green. It doesn't matter who you are. If you
Mm.
plant the apple seed, you're going to get apples. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you are. Like, it's going to work. It works all the time. It works no matter who you are. I focus on teaching people how to make their own oils at home, how to work in a spirit of cooperativeness, okay,
Mm.
cooperation with
Mm.
herbs, and to stop with this kind of like this mentality of using things like crystals, herbs, even our oils, the waters. They are here working with you. This is the part of your spiritual inheritance. It is a part of the incredible abundance you live in. We have to start thinking of them as living mysteries that have existence independent of us. When you leave this
Mm.
body, the waters continue, the air
Yeah.
continues, the
Yeah.
fire continues, the earth continues. So really putting some respect on these elements
Mm.
and learning how to allow them to assist you in your absolute empowerment. And if you are adding, this is my last thing I'm gonna say about this. I get so excited. I could talk hours about my love of the elements, right?
Yeah.
But if you think about casting a spell or even building a simple altar, most witches are going to include the four elements there: earth, fire, water, earth. They're earth, fire, water, air. They're going to include the four elements there on the altar some way, somehow. And if you cast spells in this space, then the simple idea that the sun is however millions of billions years old, right? That the simple fact that fire is a mystery that we don't know what the fuck it is or why it is,
Yeah.
but how it changed the history of humanity, fire itself, or the fact that most of the water on the earth pre-exists the sun and you get to
Yeah.
drink this and your
Yeah.
body is made of this. You think deeply into what these elements are. We have names for them, but that we've not begun to understand the mysteries of what they are. Like we know what it takes to what water is made of, but we can't reproduce it in a lab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there is a
Yeah.
mystery here, a living mystery.
Mm.
And then you connect that back to some of your religious mythos, right? Like I was raised Pentecostal Christian. So for me, I always go back to the Christian stuff. Like if you think about what the book of Genesis says about the spirit of God hovering over the face of the deep and then creating fire, creating light first, right? I tell my students, you work with the elements, you always tap back into first creation, the
Mm.
first instance of magic. You don't have to be worried about whether or not it'll work. it has to work.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
And the fact that water was already there, spirit was already there. Spirit, of course, is the fifth element. There was never a point where God is like, let there be water. Water was there.
Hmm.
Okay. Water was there. Spirit was there. Then we create fire, right? So, as a fire sign, I love that this is the first thing that we create. What we would have no life without the sun. I particularly love that. So,
Yeah.
you work with these elements connected to your mythos, and then from that place of power and knowing that you are supported by elements that have existed for billions of years, from that place, I'm calling forth the love. I'm calling forth the prosperity. I'm calling forth from the earth, from the ethers, from the fire, from the water. I'm calling this forth into my life. You cannot lose.
Yes,
You
yeah.
cannot lose. So I talk about elements. I talk about hoodoo. I talk about different workings you can do, cord cutting. I talk about the Kabbalion. We talk about the universal laws. We have a weekly meeting right now. We're focusing on lucid dreaming,
Okay.
specifically for helping people take the limits off of their thinking.
Hmm.
If you can create your dreams, you can create your life, because I think that this waking world is another dream world. But
Hmm.
one thing about it though, I don't tell people what to believe. I'm very careful about that. I ask more questions than I tell people what to believe. As spiritual people, we really are responsible for our own ethics and morals,
Hmm.
and we do not police one another. But I do pose a lot of questions to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
So
that. Yeah. So
yeah.
my selfish babes, I really want to learn, really learn for real. I really do recommend her Bruja app. I think it's amazing what you do. And
Hmm.
having that platform, because I know that there are a lot of selfish babes or just people out there that kind of want to learn spirituality deeper, but they still don't know where to go. And so I feel like
Right.
having an app, something in technology, something that's very accessible, they can just download it
Yeah.
and learn. Like I'm like, oh, that's smart. Like, yeah. So make
Yes.
sure you download her Bruja app. And I just want to say thank you, Bossy Bruja, for being on the
Thank
Selfish Babe
you.
podcast. I love, okay, the Love a Girl mood board and all that we talked
Yes.
about. And if there's any last words you want to leave our Selfish Babes, here is the time to do so.
I want them to allow themselves to have what it is they desire, regardless of what other people are choosing.
Yeah.
Like, really. Because people can choose anything that they want for themselves in this universe of abundance. They can choose, and they can choose to suffer, and that's their right and that's their business. But if you suffer along with them, you really won't be able to help them very much.
Yeah.
So I want them to choose what they want for themselves and to care more how they feel. That's it. Care more how you
Yes.
feel.
That's really important, Selfish Babe. Thank you, Bossy Bruja. Make sure to
Thank you so
follow at
much.
Bossy Bruja and order her oils, okay? Especially that magnetism.
Yes. Okay, period.
XOXO, Selfish Babe.